evening. This is Gayatri Aptekar here, live from the FirstCry Intelli Facebook page. We had scheduled a session last Friday. However, due to some technical glitches, we weren't able to go through that live and we weren't able to finish that episode, finish that live session. And today I'm back here, and I hope today it goes well and we are able to finish this live session. And if you're able to see me and hear me, just drop in a comment in the comment box, and let us get started. So our topic for today is about behavioral challenges, looking beyond behavior of children and how to work through and how to manage those behavioral challenges that come up when we are in the parenting journey. Okay, so I would want to begin this session with a story, and the story is about little Jaya. And this little Jaya was used to live in a village, and she lived with her grandparents. And every day she would eat stories. And now what am I telling when I'm telling that she used to eat stories? So every day when she used to sit for her breakfast or lunch or dinner, she used to tell her grandmother that, grandmother party, please tell me a story, then only I will have my food. And her grandmother would tell her stories, and this was her routine, this was her fabulous routine, and this was her space. She was there, her grandparents were there, and she was very happy in this small little place with them. And one fine day, what happened? Jaya's parents told her, asked her to come with them. And from that little village, she was taken away from her grandparents and she was brought to a city. And she was now living with her parents, whom she hadn't met for last 5 years. And now all of a sudden, she was sitting in her parents' house, and her father was there feeding her, and her father had just put some rice on the plate and her favorite sambar with bindi, with ladyfinger. But Jaya didn't feel the urge to eat. She didn't feel like eating. She was missing her grandmother. She was missing the stories. She was missing the tiny little space where she felt that she belonged. She was just 5 years old, but she felt that sense of belonging with her grandparents, with her grandmother especially. And as she sat there looking at the plate filled with rice and her favorite sambar, she didn't feel like eating. Instead, she sat there drawing circles on that plate, staring outside the window, and just thinking something. And at that particular moment, her dad yelled at her, "What are you doing? Playing with the food? Eat that! Finish that quickly!" And that loud voice of her father that stayed with her. She felt that sense of fear rise in her body, and she quickly started eating whatever was in front of her. And do you know who this little Jaya was? Yes, it was me. And growing up, I remember there were a lot of struggles around the meal times. And I remember I would take hours finishing the food, and I would just sit there drawing circles or just playing with the food in front of me, but not really eating it. And every time I remember, I used to sit like that. I remember my dad used to shout at me, and there used to be this struggle around the mealtime. And I never understood what was really happening at that time. Years later, when I went into psychology, when I started learning psychological tools, is when I realized my behavior of not eating food, sitting there and playing with my food, my behavior had something deeper. My behavior was connected to something deeper. So whenever we look at our children and they are misbehaving, or they are misbehaving according to us, okay, so during the pandemic I got a lot of calls from parents who used to tell me that their children are not sitting for online classes, or even if they sit for the online classes, they are not paying attention. They have just switched off their video. They are not answering the questions of the teacher. They are not waking up in the morning for the classes. They are not ready to sit for the tests. And a lot of these behavioral challenges were coming up during the pandemic, during this lockdown. And when parents asked me this, I was just thinking about myself, about how I used to behave when I was a child, and what was the reason behind it. So, as a 5 year old, when I was taken away from my grandparents and brought to live with my parents, what had happened? There was a sense of separation. I repeat, there was a sense of separation. And when I was with my parents, I didn't feel that sense of connection with my parents. And even my parents didn't take that. What would I say? They didn't take that effort to connect with me, to understand me, to build that connection with me. So when you look at a behavior of the child, let it be whatever may be the behavior of the child, and I am not talking about a specific age group. It could be any age group, right from toddlers till teenagers. Let it be any age group of the child. If there is a behavioral challenge, today I'm going to talk to you about how we can look into that deeper into that behavior. So I'm sure you all have a mobile phone, isn't it? And there is this small light here, there's a small space here on my mobile phone. And when the battery of this mobile just goes very down, like it goes around 15%, there is a red light that comes here. Or when there is a notification, like if there is somebody who calls me, so now there is a red light blinking here, a red light will blink here because there is a message that has come. So when that red light pops up on my mobile phone, I know that it is an indication of two things. One, that either there is a notification, a message, or a phone call, or an email that has popped up, or it is because that the battery has drained out and I have to keep my phone on charging. I do not throw my mobile when there is a red light. I don't yell at my mobile phone. Oh, how can you show me that red light? I don't do any of these things. I do something about that notification. I do something about that signal that my mobile is giving me. So a behavior is also like that notification. A behavior is a notification, an alarm that is indicating that there is something deeper which has to be addressed. A behavior is just like is just like a smoke. So when there is fire, there is smoke, right? So a behavior is like smoke. So as parents, it is an invitation for us to check, where is the fire? What is the issue? Where is the problem? And how can we solve that? What can we do about it? Okay, so the first reason why children behave in a particular way, when they throw tantrums, or they maybe answer back, or yell, or throw something, or cry uncontrollably, the first thing to pay attention is, what is the emotion that the child is trying to fulfill? I repeat, when children are misbehaving, or when they are crying, or they are acting out, or they are throwing things, or hitting their siblings, or any behavioral issue, if you think they are having any behavioral challenge, it's time to ask yourself, what is the emotion that they are trying to fulfill? Because every behavior has a deep emotion which is unfulfilled. Okay, I repeat, every behavior has a deep emotion that is left unfulfilled. So in my own case, when I was behaving like that, when I was not having my lunch or dinner, or when I was just playing with the food, and so there were days when I would just throw the food and I would just throw up and I wouldn't want to eat. So on those days as well, there was an emotion which was left unfulfilled. So one of the basic emotions that there are few basic emotions that as human beings we all need to be fulfilled. So those emotions are like, they have to be fulfilled for us. One of the basic emotion is the sense of safety and security. Okay, the sense of feeling safe with someone. Okay, so that is the basic emotion that is so important for us as humans, and in children it is very high. And the second emotion that is very very important for children and for all of us is the emotion of connection. That feeling that we belong to this place, that feeling that these are my people, this is my pack. Okay, so we have evolved from animals, isn't it? We have evolved from animals. And how do animals live? They live in packs. So they have this pack behavior active. And as we are also as we have also evolved from animals, we also have this pack behavior active in us. So we also want to belong to a group, we also want to belong to a space. So that feeling of connection, that sense of connection is so important for us as well. So for children, this sense of connection is highly intensified. So when this emotion of connection is unfulfilled, when this emotional when their emotional cup is left unfulfilled, is when they sense this strange discomfort, and they are unable to express this discomfort. Because I remember how I was feeling when I was um, brought from the village to the city, and when I was living with my parents, because there was this sense of this feeling of uneasiness that was there within me, and I didn't know what to call it, because I was just a 5-year old. I didn't know what to say, and I was just so overwhelmed with all these feelings that I didn't know what to talk or how to behave, what to tell other people, what to tell my parents. I didn't know this, and I think that is where it all stems from. So I repeat this again for anybody who has just joined in. So every behavior has a deeper emotion which is left unfulfilled. And some of the emotions which are left unfulfilled, emotional needs, are safety, security, connection. And as children grow up, then their needs also increase. That need is again a sense of appreciation. So they need appreciation. They need that. Sense of love, belonging, that sense that they are important. Okay, that they are important, that they have that power. So these are also, especially bullies, so children who bully a lot, they don't have the sense of power at home. So when they are bullying other children, they feel that they get that sense of power. They feel that when they are bullying another child, yes, I am important here, yes, I am the person who is stronger here. Actually, it is not. They're just trying to put on that mask that they are strong. Okay, so just note some of these basic human emotional needs, which are safety, security, connection, love, appreciation, care, respect. Now, respect is also a very powerful emotional need. So as children grow up, when they reach the teens or preteens, somewhere around 9, 10, is where they want to be respected. Respected for their choices, respected for their decisions, respected for the friends that they have. So these, again, these are very, very important things for them as they start growing up around 9, 10 years. So as children grow up, their needs become diverse, and it's very important as parents that at every stage of the child, we upgrade ourselves. So I'm sure that each of you have a mobile phone which keeps upgrading, which has a new system download every week or every month, and you download it. And why do you do that? You get those system upgrades because your phone has to run smoothly, right? The same way, when you are in a relationship, when you are in a relationship with your child, it is so important for you to upgrade yourself with every stage of the child. Like when the child is a toddler, you make sure that you're bringing this sense of safety and security and connection for your child. When your child grows, as your child grows, you bring in more respect, you bring in more love, more care, more appreciation for the child, for what the child is doing. Okay, so specific kind of appreciation. So as you keep filling the emotional cup of the child, then the child is able to kind of process those big emotions in a better way. Now, in the second part, I'm going to talk to you about how to build these emotional needs, like how to fulfill these emotional needs. So, the number one emotional need that I want to talk about is connection. So, how can you build this sense of connection? Now, when you meet a stranger, uh, do you directly start your conversation? No, you don't do that, right? You first build a connection, right? You ask them, how are you doing? How are people at your home? What is really happening in your life? So you kind of build the conversation. You kind of build this sense of connection. And if right now I have to talk to you all via Facebook Live, it's very important that I have a very stable internet connection also, right? So the connection is so important, isn't it? Connection is very, very important. So how do you connect? I would like to know something from you guys. How are you connecting with your children? And right now in the pandemic, the main challenge that is happening is that our sense of safety and security has been threatened, isn't it? Our sense of safety and security has been threatened, and the sense of connection is also gone for a toss because we are not physically meeting each other. So imagine when a child is put in this situation, what is going to happen? Your child is in this, as adults we are facing so many challenges to adapt to this situation. So just think what's happening to our children, especially the toddlers and the primary school children, especially the toddlers, because for them, the playgroup, the nursery, for them, it was just so. For many of those little kids, their teachers were second mothers. They really loved being with their teachers, they loved being with their friends in the school, they loved all the celebrations and the activities, the music, the dance, the stories, all the fun that they had in school, and the activities that they used to do in school. So they are missing all of that, so that sense of connection is missing. So one of the things that you could do right now is to work on the behavioral issues, is to develop a sense of connection with your child. And how do we do that? So if as parents I have to build the sense of connection with my child, the first thing I have to do is to build that connection with myself. It's so important, isn't it? Before I even connect to somebody else, I have to connect with myself. A lot of parents are just living their day just thinking about what is the next thing to be done. WhatsApp messages, emails pouring in now with the work from home. There is this no, what to say, this line has completely gone. Like, this is my work and this is my house. This line is completely gone, all is kind of mixed up. So anytime phone calls are coming, you're picking up the phone, you're talking, you're doing this household chores, so many things. So when are you connecting with yourself, parents? That is what I want to ask yourself. And what are you doing to connect to yourself? So the first step to build connection is to connect with yourself. And when I say this as a parent, what does that mean? So it means that I keep my emotional needs fulfilled. So what are some of my emotional needs? So let me give you an example. So some of my emotional needs, the first one is freedom. So for me, freedom is very, very important. I value it a lot. So one of the most important emotional need for me is freedom. So how do I ensure that this is taken care of? So the first way I do that is to communicate with my family that this is my me time and this is the time when I will not be available. And one of the things I also do is I wake up a little early. So it's not that I wake up at like kind of 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Oh, there are days when I do, but most of the times I just wake up a little earlier than other people in my family. And why do I do that? Because that is the time when I perform a ritual to connect to myself. So that is a process to connect to yourself. You cannot just say, "Oh, this is my me time." You cannot just say like that. You have to have a ritual to connect to yourself. So one of the rituals that I follow to connect to myself, one is to meditate, guided meditation, relaxing myself. The next is to spend time with nature. So maybe I'll go for a walk, or maybe I'll just sit by the window and look at the trees outside. I'll journal. Now journaling is also a very powerful way to connect to yourself. So maybe I'll journal, or maybe I'll read a book, or maybe I'll just listen to some soft music or instrumental music, or maybe I'll dance. So it depends as to what I want to do on a particular day, but these are some of the rituals that I do to connect to myself. So, what is your ritual to connect to yourself? Are you connecting to yourself? Is the question. So that is one way to do. The second way to connect to yourself is to also open up with friends, maybe talk to a friend, or talk to a family member, or if you meet a therapist, then you could connect with a therapist as well. You could write online, social media. There are different ways to connect to yourself. So the first thing is, parents, ensure that you connect to yourself. You keep your emotional needs, your emotional cup full. And it is very important because you are the center of your universe. I repeat, you are the center of your universe. If you are not feeling that sense of connection and groundedness, then you will not be able to connect to others. Let it be your child, let it be your family, let it be anybody else. So it's very important for you to do that first. Now once you get into that sense of connection with yourself. Okay, so before I go ahead, I receive a lot of questions about meditation and as to how you can begin and how you can do it and all of that. So I recommend these two apps if you can check these two apps. One is Headspace and the other is Calm. So one is Headspace and the other is Calm, CALM. So I highly recommend these two apps, so you can check these two apps, and they have some free trial as well, I think, and then you can download them, and you can just try a few guided meditations through that app. And I personally felt really really relaxed even before going to sleep. So even before going to sleep, just listening to the sleep meditation from Calm, it really helps me to relax my body and mind. The reason why meditation is so important is meditation is like emotional cleansing. So you are doing your hand sanitizing, you're washing your hands, you're sanitizing your hands, you're doing all of that. What are you doing for your brain? And meditation is really important for your brain health. I'm not telling mental health, I'm talking about brain health. So it's like recharging your brain. It's so important. You keep recharging your phones, right? So the same way your brain also has to get recharged. So one of the most easiest way to recharge from here is to meditate. So these two apps are really helpful. Headspace also has a specific tool wherein you can use it for kids as well. So it has a specific drop down list wherein you can download it and you can play the meditations age group wise. So they have for toddlers, preschoolers, so they have this age group 1 to 5 years or 5 to 7 years. I think they have that, so maybe you could use that and work on that as well. That is helpful as well. So that is the first thing to kind of just a second, we are also getting some questions here, so I'm just going to check that. Okay, so yes, so before I answer the questions, let me just finish this entire setup first. So the first one, like I said, is to connect to yourself. That is the first one. The second way is to connect to your child. And how are you going to connect to your child? The first way to connect to your child to is to enter their space. Now, what do I mean by enter their space? So, when I'm talking about entering their space, it is about the way they talk, the tonality. And let me tell you, parents, this is the most important thing, the tonality of the child. Notice what is the tonality of the child. Now, I remember this. I used to, before the pandemic, I used to go to schools to conduct storytelling events and to do parent trainings and teacher trainings in school. And when I would go, I would see children come and talk to me or talk to their teachers. And this is something that I observed. I'm going to just enact this and show to you. So there would be a child who would come with so much excitement. I would say, ma'am, what happened today? Ma'am, what happened yesterday? And then the teacher would, or the parent would go, "Huh, bolo." Are you noticing? There is so much of a mismatch happening here. The child coming with so much excitement, and the teacher or the parent or whoever is the adult there at that point of time just saying, "Ha, bolo." So the child's excitement is not matched by the adult's excitement, is not matched by the adult, whoever it is who is conversing or communicating with that child. So at that moment itself, that child experiences that sense of disconnect. That is the first moment when the child is feeling that disconnect. Or there could be a child who would be talking like this. Yesterday na my friend na, so the child will be doing this, and the adult, it could be the teacher, parent, grandparent, whoever it is, they would be like, jaldi jaldi bolo, mere paas itna time nahi hai, kya hua, jaldi bolo. And now again it's gone. Now again that wonderful moment when you could have connected with that child is gone. So here's something I'm going to share with you, and this is something that I share in my live parent trainings. So here's the tip for you all, especially at the FirstCry Intelli group page. So this is one tip that I want to give you. So when the child is speaking in a particular tonality, match that tonality. So if a child is coming with that excitement, hey, what happened yesterday, what happened yesterday, just and just for a moment, you don't have to have that energy continuously, you don't need to do that. I understand, as parents we have so much work to do. There are so many spaces that take up our energy. So by the time our children are coming and talking to us, we are like, oh, I don't want to talk now. Okay, so I completely understand that space. but just for one moment, just for few seconds. So you just join them in their world. Oh, what is it? I am excited to hear. Bolo bolo. That's it. That's what you do. I'm going to repeat it again, okay? So the child is coming with excitement. Hey, you know what? I want to tell you something. And then you go, oh yeah, what it is? That's it. So just for that moment, you build yourself up, you build your state up to match your child. And then maybe you can sit back and allow the child to talk. That's absolutely okay. But for that moment, you are like, you're just doing that. You're just entering the child's space. Or if the child is going, you know what, yesterday this happened. So you just, oh, what happened yesterday? I would like to hear. Come sit. So you're just slowing down with the child. It's very important to match your child's tonality, match your child's pace, rhythm of speaking. It's very, very important. And this is the most easiest way you can connect to any child, not only your child, even as a teacher, this is what you can do. So this is the first tip. So if you're watching this video, note these tips down. Have a notepad, have your mobile phone handy, and just note this down. So this is the first way you build connection with a child, by matching their tonality, by matching the way they speak, by matching into their world. Okay, so this is the first one. The second one is especially for toddlers. Okay, so when you have children who are like height mein chote hai, like they are like you are tall and they are short and they are young, so you don't stand like this and look at the child like this, like the child is here and you are here, so that is like an authority position. So that kind of connection doesn't work. So you get down to the child's level. So I remember I used to extensively do this when I used to go and tell stories. So I would just get down at the child's level, look into the child's eyes and say, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing, my baby? How are you doing? How are you feeling today? And that's so wonderful because the child feels that sense of protection, that sense of safety, and it's such a warm feeling to kind of get down to the child's level, not just stand there and say, I am the adult and you have to do this because I told so. Step away from that. Step away. You are the adult, I completely understand. But for that child, you have to enter the child's world. And the second way to enter the child's world is to get down to their level or bring them to your eye level. Okay? So when you're talking to them, bring them to your eye level or you get down to their eye level. And especially during the, yes, I'll come to that third point in a moment. So the first is to pace them with their voice, their tonality, their rhythm, the way they are speaking. Okay, so just pace them. It's not that you are mimicking them, it's not mimicking, understand, you're not mimicking them. And if you are going to mimic and if you're going to be fake, children will find it immediately. They connect to their bodies a lot, so they sense that incongruency, they sense that this adult is faking, so I wouldn't want to talk to this adult. They will sense that very well. So just become genuinely interested in what the child is wanting to say. Okay, so when you build that genuine interest, when you're really interested in what my child is wanting to say, what is it that my child wants to convey, then that itself is a big game changer. Okay, the second is to get to their eye level. So either get them up or you go down. And if you're talking to teenagers or if you're talking to preteens, it's very important to maintain a distance. Like you don't go very close to them and you don't go very far. So it's good to have an arm's distance with them and talk to them again eye to eye and have that respectful tonality. Again, tonality is very, very important. The way you speak to your child, I think it was Peggy O'Mara who said this, and this is my favorite quote. The way you talk to your child becomes their inner voice. So it is very important to have a very soft tonality when you're talking to your child. And the words that you choose to talk to them are very, very important. So if your child is so let me just finish the previous one and then come back to the words. Okay, so that is the second one. The second one is to get them to your eye level. And now the third one is, when do you connect? Now this is very important. Now parents come and tell me that, Gayatri, you tell all these things, you tell about connection, you tell about building this deep connection and everything, but मेरे पास time नहीं है. I don't have time. There is so many chores to do. How do I manage all of this? So here's the good news for you. You don't need hours to build connection. You don't need 1 hour quality time. It's not important. What's happening right now is you are spending only 1 hour a week maybe. That's not going to help. What's going to help is quality time and quantity time also. So it's not that once in a month you're going to give them 1 hour and that's going to be useful. That's not going to be useful. It's like parenting is like building a garden. Okay, so it's like building a garden. Like you are the farmer and you have the seed and you're sowing that seed, and that seed requires a particular environment. And each seed requires different environment. Each plant, each tree requires different kind of watering solutions. You cannot put so for a rose plant you may just need a little bit of water, but for a mango tree you may require more water. For a tulsi plant the watering is different. So for each plant it's different, for each tree it's different. So the same way as a farmer tends to his field, tends to his as a gardener tends to his garden every single day, it's so important as as a parent to connect to your child, to build that relationship every single day. You cannot just say I'm going to do it once in a month, मेरे पास एक ही दिन है जब मैं कर सकता हूँ. You're not going to do that, because when you're going to do that you are going to face these behavioral issues. These tantrums are going to happen because a child is not feeling that connection. And when the child is not feeling the connection, to get your connection, the child is going to do something. Okay, so yes, so that is very very important. So you have to get that connection going with your child. Okay, so I think there's again some trouble in the video. Are you guys able to see me? Anything that's coming up? Okay, so I'm going to wait. Any comments? I'm just going to wait here for a few moments. Just going to check. So I'm just going to check because I'm unable to see the... Hi, can you see the live video? Because again it's showing me here, sorry, we are having trouble playing this video. You're able to see me? Okay, so I'll continue. Okay, fine, yeah. So yes, so I've got the confirmation that you're able to see me, so I'm going to continue. So what is important here is that you spend a little bit of time every single day. So it could be just 5 minutes. And when are you going to do it? The timing is very important. So I'm going to give you a few moments when you can build this connection. The first is when the child wakes up in the morning. Now that is a very very crucial time to build the connection. So when the child is just waking up in the morning, the child is highly active in the unconscious state. So the unconscious state that takes care of all the activities in the body, the heart beating, the blood pumping, and all these activities, that is highly active at that time. So it is very important for the parent to build that connection at that time. So that is the first step. So that is the first step when you can build the connection with your child, is when the child wakes up in the morning. That is the first one. The second is transitioning. When the child is transitioning, so now the child has got up and now the child is transitioning to the school or to something else. So when the child is transitioning, it's important to build a sense of connection again. And how do you build it? Again, by matching their tonality, by matching their space, by matching their rhythm of their speech, and also by getting to their eye level. If they are older children, giving them that space. Okay, so that is the second one. The third is when the school is done, so when their online classes are done, that is now again one moment to connect. And when you're connecting, remember, it doesn't mean that you have to connect for like half an hour, 1 hour, or 2 hours. It's just 5 minutes. That's what you need. But that 5 minutes has to be fully for them. So it cannot be that you are on the phone like this and ha bolo bolo. So the child is coming and telling something that happened in the school, telling something that happened in the online class, and you are like, yeah, tell me. You cannot be like that. Or you cannot be on the phone like this, okay, tell me, you cannot do this. So that 5 minutes that you're spending with your child, it's so important for you to be fully present in that 5 minute zone. Okay, so that is how you build the connection. The next is again when the child is transitioning. So now the school is done and everything is done, and now it's maybe lunchtime or the evening time. Now this is again wonderful time to connect to them. So it's the evening time and they're just sitting, they're wondering what they can do or something. So that is a time again when you can build the sense of connection. And very important is before they go to sleep. Very important. So in a day, at least 4 to 5 moments of connection have to be there with the child. It's very important. And ask yourself, are you doing that? I want to ask you, are you doing that? Be honest with yourself, are you doing that? So I am sure that you have your office commitments and everything. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all that your relationship needs. Early morning, when they get up, spend that 5 minutes with them. Did you sleep well? What did you do at night? Were you able to sleep well? Just talk to them. If they are younger, then cuddle them for a while, sit in that space, like cuddle them and sit in that space. Get them into the window, open the windows, just get some fresh air. Feel that sense of connection with your child. So important. Once the school is done, talk to them. What happened in the school? What are they doing? Especially for the older kids. And for the younger kids, if you are sitting with them for the online classes, then be with them. Now, coming to a very important point. My child doesn't want to sit for the online class. My child is really irritated about the online class. All of these things. And why do you think this is happening? Again, going back again, look beyond the behavior. And what is beyond the behavior? The emotion. So, what is the emotion that the child is wanting to fulfill here? The emotion of connection. That is not, again, not fulfilled because the child is missing the school. The child doesn't want to sit in front of the laptop. Why? Because you are the one who told the child, right? We are the ones, we are the adults who told our children that you shouldn't be spending so much time in front of the mobile and the laptop. And understand this one more thing. For children, mobile and laptop was a sense of moving away from school. Right? For them, it was the sense of moving away from school. It was not something that was connected to school. So they looked at this space as a space wherein they used to relax. Okay, so mobile mein games khelna was relaxation for them, laptop mein PUBG khelna was a relaxation for them, or watching a YouTube video or something, whatever it was a sense of relaxation for them. Now what has it happened? It has become compulsion. And whenever there is a compulsion, our brain automatically wants to repel it. It wants to, like, no, I don't want to do it, because it is a sense of, we are building this sense of compulsion for them. And here's where a small trick can help, a small strategy can help. I will not say trick, a small strategy, because I've used it, I've implemented it in my own life, in the life of my countless clients, and I'm going to write about it in my book as well. So this is a very powerful tool. Validate that emotion. It's so important. Validate your child's emotion. So if your child is getting up in the morning and saying, I don't want to sit for the class, it's just so boring, again, go by the first rule, the same tonality, match it, get to their eye level, and validate their emotions. Say, oh yeah, you're getting bored now, sachi, I am also getting bored. Every day work from home, every day itna sara khana banao, all of that, all the household chores, you know what, I am also getting bored. So you pace that reality, you validate their reality, you don't just fight that reality. Most parents, what do? We kind of just fight that. When the child says I'm bored or I'm tired or I don't want to do, we feel that we are the adult and just like, what you're tired, what you're bored, huh? School bhi nahi jana hai, ghar pe to baith ke karna hai, what you're bored. Look at other children, they don't even have a mobile or an internet connection to go to school. You only have to sit at home and do it. What is there? This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is just going to create a verbal battle, and this verbal battle will just keep growing, and deep inside the child will feel that my emotions are not important, and my emotions are not important. And when the child feels that his or her emotion is not important, he or she is going to reflect that back on you. So they will feel that your emotions are also not important. So when you are telling something to them, maybe they will also not listen. So when they are sharing their emotions, just be emotionally available for them. Validate it. And how will you validate? Just by pacing them again. So the child is saying, I'm just so bored. That is a tonality. Just join them. Oh, you're so bored. I understand. You're so bored. I am also so bored. Just pace that. And when you do that, it's really, really amazing. When you do that, it's going to help you build that connection. When you validate their emotion, they will feel that my emotion is important, I am important. So their emotional need of importance will automatically get fulfilled. Okay, so I hope you guys are following this entire video and all what I'm telling you. If yes, then just let me know in the comments as to if you have faced something like this. And we have some questions here, so I'm just going to answer those questions. So the first question is, my child hits me all the times. I understand that it might be a phase, but even when I try to distract him, he would still do that. Please guide what can be done. Okay, now again, this behavior of hitting, it is coming from that sense of emotion that is left unfulfilled. So first you have to check what is the emotion that is left unfulfilled. That is something that you have to check. Okay, so first check that emotion that is left unfulfilled. So check that. The second is, you can give the child something else to hit. So you can say that you don't hit humans. You don't do that. So you can give a soft toy and you can say, maybe you can hit the soft toy. Maybe we can have some rough housing with that pillow. So sometimes these emotions are stuck in the body. So whatever the feelings are there, it's stuck in the body. And the child doesn't know how to remove it from the body. So it kind of brings that uneasy feeling in that child's body. So what is it that you do at that time? You play, you move that body. So when the child gets into that zone of aggression or wants to hit or anything, all you need to do is just take a pillow and just start some pillow fight. Gets into some rough housing, like just get into that zone. And don't wait for aggression to build up and then you start doing. The challenge is this: we wait for these things to happen and then we want a solution. Why wait? Do you wait till the mobile battery goes down every time? Do you do that? I'm sure you don't do that. You ensure that the mobile is adequately charged because you want to smoothly watch the videos or play the games or surf the net. You want to do all of that, right? So just ensure that you build it beforehand. You do these things beforehand, not when the problem is happening. You're not going to dig the well when you are thirsty. If you're going to do that, then you're going to be in trouble. So the thing is, you have to build it beforehand. So just ensure that you have a routine or you have a ritual wherein you play with your child. You do some rough housing so that the body gets moving. So all those emotions are just kind of like, you just shake it off. So again, one more beautiful thing that you can observe from animals is, animals shake it off. When they wake up in the morning, they shake it off. If you've observed pets or animals, dogs on the street, if you notice them, they'll wake up in the morning and they'll shake themselves off. So do this, like kind of just ensure that you have some time wherein you shake it off. You can just play some music and you also dance it out and allow your children also to do it. Okay, so that is something that could really be helpful. And I would also want to know what is the age of your child, because again, depending on the age of your child, it could be some deeper issue. Sometimes it could be some bullying from school or something from the past that is bothering your child. So it is also important to know the age of the child and what is the background and all these things. But with what you have told me, these are the two things that you can take care of. Okay, I hope that was useful. The next one is, my child is 19-month old and she doesn't eat at all. Does it has something to do with her behavior? She's a happy child though, but just wanted to check, does eating habits has anything to do with behavior? So here's something that I want to say. I am not a medical doctor or a pediatrician, so I cannot talk anything about eating and all those stuff, especially as a 19-month old. So one of the things I would suggest here is consult a pediatrician and check if there is any issue, so some digestive issues or something. So just check with that. 19 month is too too young to talk about behavior. So it's all just building up, so I cannot just talk about behavior as a 19-month-old. So one of the things you could do is check with a pediatrician, especially somebody who specializes in diet also. So just check that as to what is happening there. And the second thing is obviously connection. Again, coming back to connection every single time. See, connection is your mantra now. Take this. If there is something that you're going to take from this entire video, I'm telling you that is connection. Just take this word with you. And when we are telling that children are acting out for attention, this child is attention seeking. When we use such words, I really feel those words are not useful. What we frame as attention seeking could actually be connection seeking. What if it is an invitation to seek connection? Because that's what we all want at a deeper level. Okay, so I would again tell you to just connect to your child, build that bonding with your child, and please go and check with the pediatrician if there is any health issue that's happening, any digestive issues or something. Okay, the third one is sometimes our children disrespect us in front of their friends or their family members, and they would just not listen when we try to stop or punish them. Can you please suggest some other ways to achieve a better understanding with my 8-year-old? Okay, now what do you mean by disrespect? That is a very big question here. Everybody's sense of respect and disrespect is going to be different. Everybody's map about what is respect and what is disrespect is going to be different. Okay, so I would like to know, what is respect and disrespect for you? Is it raising the voice, or is it using particular tonality or anything? And the second thing that I want to talk about here is, where did the child learn it from? This is very important to ask yourself. Where did the child learn it from? Because the child wasn't born in this world with these behaviors or with these issues. The child wasn't born in this world with disrespect or talking like this or hitting or any of these behaviors. The child learned it somewhere. Where did the child learn it? How is the child's environment? What is happening in the child's environment? And when I talk about environment, it is not only the people living in the environment, it is also how the environment is designed, as to what is the child watching on television or on the OTT platforms or on YouTube. What is the child listening to? What kind of music is the child listening to? What is the child eating? Okay, so all these things matter a lot. All these things are a child's environment. So I would like you to first check, where did my child learn to disrespect? What is really happening there? Are you respecting your 8-year-old? And how can we respect the 8-year-old? By allowing them powerful choices, not having these food struggles that you have to eat it, you must eat it. Not doing that, respecting their space, knocking their door, knocking the door before entering their room. So all these things are ways of respect that we show them. What are you wearing? This doesn't look good. Wear this. Why? Because I told you so? No. Give. These are moments when you are respecting your child. And this is how your child is learning to respect you. So before you expect this respect from the child, it's very important to notice, are you respecting your child? Very important. And they would not just listen when we try to stop or punish them. Yes, so now this is very, very crucial. Punishing is not a solution. Punishing is just going to allow them to behave from a space of fear. And when they are going to behave from a space of fear, it's really not going to help. It's not going to help anybody, because they are not going to do anything for a longer period of time, for a sustained period of time. Punishing doesn't work at that time. So again, it's every behavior, I want to again stress on this point, every behavior is an invitation to pause and check what emotion is left unfulfilled. Am I connecting to my child adequately? Am I connecting to my child every single day at the points that I mentioned? Early morning when the child is waking up, how are you waking up your child? Now, that also is a very, very powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing that we don't pay attention to. Remember a small baby, how you used to wake up a small baby? Would you just do like this to the baby? Are would you do that? You wouldn't do it. But when the child grows up, this is what happens automatically. Maybe you're standing in the kitchen and you're yelling at the child in the bedroom, hey, get up. That's what we are doing, isn't it? I remember my dad used to do it, and I used to get so irritated when he used to do that. He used to be in the kitchen and he used to yell from the kitchen, and I was in the living room and he would just yell loudly. I would just get irritated and I would purposely not wake up. I would I would enact as if I don't hear him, as if I didn't hear him. And I was just, no, I don't want to wake up. I would do that. Now that for a person looking from outside, or that for my dad, was like a behavioral issue, right? But what is it exactly? It is just about that connection. And that is something that I loved when I used to go to my aunt's house. When I used to go to my aunt's house, when I used to visit my aunt's house, I used to wake up with her at 5 o'clock, and my dad would wonder, like, how are you waking up at 5 o'clock? यहाँ पे तो you don't even wake up at 7. वहाँ पे 5 o'clock को कैसे? How are you waking up? Because the way my aunt used to wake me up was so different. She used to tell me the previous day, oh, tomorrow we are going for a walk. Would you like to join me? I'll be waking up at 5. Can I wake you up at 5? She would ask my permission. And then the next day, she would be next to my bed. And she would, in a very soft tone, she would say, Jaya, you're getting up? We're going for a walk. Are you joining me? It's such a wonderful way to connect to a child. And a lot of parenting that I have learned it from the frame of my aunt.